We begin tonight with the state's next death row execution. As long as the governor doesn't intervene, Stephen Stanko will be executed by lethal injection in less than an hour. It will be the 6th execution the state has carried out since last September. Thank you so much for joining us for Watch Fox News at 5. I'm Friendly Clairvaux. We have team coverage tonight. Our Kiana Jordan joins us live from Broad River Correctional, where that sentence will be carried out. Kiana, this case is actually a little different. Why is that?
Yes, Friendly, what makes this execution different is that Stephen Stanko was sentenced to death for 2 murders, the killing of his girlfriend in Georgetown County and his friend, 74-year-old Henry Turner in Conway. The murder of Turner is the case he's set to be executed on tonight. As the state prepares to execute death row inmate Stephen Stanko by lethal injection, his legal team braces because they believe that Stanko could possibly drown and suffocate from his own bodily fluids using this method. His lawyers attempted to prove that in a federal courtroom Wednesday. A judge denied the argument almost entirely. Death penalty opponents say they aren't surprised by the judge's decision.
Not surprised. The further along somebody gets into their post-conviction relief, the more difficult it becomes to stay the execution, to stop an execution, particularly here in South Carolina, where there is no appetite by our judicial system.
During an interview last month, the solicitor in the 15th Circuit, where Stanko committed his crime, said the case is one of a kind.
Stephen Stanko was the first time that I've ever seen a person get 2 death penalties.
In 2005, Stanko killed a 74-year-old man in Conway, and in 2006, he was convicted of killing his girlfriend, raping her teenage daughter, and then cutting the girl's throat in Georgetown County. His appeals for murdering Henry Lee Turner have officially run out. On Wednesday, Stanko's legal team was prepared to bring up what's being dubbed the botched firing squad execution of Mikkel Motti, arguing Stanko would have chosen firing squad if it weren't for that case. Instead, the judge would not hear the argument, saying Stanko ultimately chose to die by lethal injection. According to the website for South Carolinians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty, in 2015, the death penalty cost $1 million more than a life sentence without parole.
If we actually cared about cost-cutting mechanisms in our systems, particularly in our prison system here in South Carolina, we would abolish the death penalty. We would put that money towards literally anything else.
Now, this execution is set to start at 6 tonight unless the governor intervened. Now, no South Carolina governor has ever intervened since capital punishment was reinstated back in the mid-1970s. 3 members of the media will witness this execution, and we're also told that family members of the victim will also be present. At Broad River Correctional, I'm Kiana Jordan.
All right, Kiana, thank you so much for that. We continue team coverage just outside the gates of the prison. Protesters continue to call for Governor McMaster to intervene. That's where we found our Megan Gagno is just outside Broad River Correctional, where activists have been gathering for more than an hour now. Megan, what's the scene like right now?
That's right, Friendly. As you can see around me, too, there's dozens of protesters out here. Many of them are holding up signs, lining the streets outside of Broad River Correctional. Now, many of them were also signing petitions and bringing them over to Governor McMaster's office just for last-minute intervention, and they're still hoping for that right now. And this comes just hours before Stephen Stanko is set to be executed in an hour. Now, the group behind these demonstrations are the South Carolinians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty, as well as faith groups and people from around the state and even outside of the state. All of them want the death penalty abolished here in South Carolina. This is the 6th execution these activists have protested in 9 months at Broad River Correctional. Stephen Stanko is set to die by lethal injection. Advocates argue the state's use of that method poses ethical and legal risks.
You know, sometimes the lethal dose doesn't take effect immediately, or they have to do separate. You know, they know it's not effective, they know it's a bad look, but they do it anyway just because they can get away with it and make money for it. So they're making a profit off of people suffering, which really sucks.
Now, with the clock ticking, protesters say they will stay here until the very end, and they're hoping for that last-minute intervention. In Columbia, I'm Megan Gagno, Watch Fox News, Local First.